Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
I have almost no words to describe the feeling of everyone throughout the IW, at least the majority of people in the IWC anyway. And I don't really have the words to describe the feeling of myself that I went through yesterday with this unbelievable news. And we're actually going to talk about it right out of the gate. But before we get into anything, it is a new year, but the same greatness resides on this channel because it's Saturday! You know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live on 4 different platforms, 5 different accounts. We are still going through our little debacle with the Hardcore Sports Twitter. Hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted out sooner rather than later. But regardless, we're still streaming live on a hell of a lot of platforms, and we got a shit ton of news to talk about. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle. Shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? That right there is the smell of pure fucking excellence, no matter how you want to twist and fucking turn it. Wait for it. Wait for it! Mankind! And this, oh man, I am feeling it today. This is the first ever LFU Lightning Flash update, the first one of 2023, and we are kicking things off in the best way possible. We doing this DJ Storm style. It's the best kind of style out there, baby. I hope you guys are ready for a banger of a show. You may as well start calling me the IWC's version of Sheamus, because all I do is put out banger after banger after banger, after banger, after banger, after banger, after banger. That's DJ Storms. That's what I'm all about. But I hope you guys are ready for a good time. We are going to jump into the news in just a little bit. I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas season, a wonderful Hanukkah season, Kwanzaa season, whatever type of holiday that you may celebrate. And I hope that you guys had a wonderful New Year's as well. We are set and ready to start anew. But it seems as though we may be ready to start anew, but the WWE seems to be going backwards with the recent piece of news that broke. Regardless, we're going to dissect everything. And my, oh my, you bet your fucking ass that I got a lot of shit to say about this. Trust me. Trust me. But I see that we got Sleeping Angels, we got Lady Mackenzie, we got the Final Hoss, and Alex Mercado. Hope you guys are feeling it. You do, yeah, I know Alex. He knows. Alex knows it is Saturday. You know what that means, because when I'm live on Saturday, you know that's your Saturday just got even better. But let me tell you something. Before we get into what we're going to get into, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for making 2022 a great year. Shout out to little Stevie, who appeared on the first ever stream of 2023. This isn't the first ever stream of 2023. This is the second. The first one was this past Thursday at 8 p.m. because me and little Stevie, we collaborated once again for the rundown for Battle of the Belts 5, which was a very good show last night after Rampage. Mitchkovsky, as always, reminding everyone that I'm the best in the motherfucking business. Don't you ever fucking doubt me. But before we get into what we're going to get into, shout out to little Stevie, like I said. Hope to have him back on the channel very, very soon. This year is going to be a great year. We have a lot of good content coming. I'm looking to bring back the Eye of the Storm sit-down interview show where I interview professional wrestlers. So hopefully you'll be seeing some of that very, very soon, as well as familiar faces and new faces are going to be coming to the channel. Some familiar faces that I've collaborated with in the past, some familiar faces that I have had that have been key pillars to getting the DJ Storms brand where it is today. Wink, wink. I'll let you guys figure out what that means. And of course, new faces as well. I'm going to collaborate with a lot of new people I hope to collaborate with this year. But before we get into our festivities here, first things first, please make sure that you follow me on social media. You can see it right down there, Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. You can also add me on Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. Please make sure that you are liking the stream when you come on in, no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it from my Twitter, my Facebook group page, my YouTube channel, or the Hardcore Sports Twitch channel right down there at Hardcore Sports 1, or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel right down there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Hardcore Sports N and Instagram at Hardcore Sports Network. We are looking to be the #1 brand, the #1 destination for all sports analytics, everything sports related, whether it be baseball, hockey, football, basketball, UFC, professional wrestling. We're looking to be #1. And if 2022 was the foundation year, this year is going to be our breakout fucking year. So you best believe Hardcore Sports is going to be taking the entire sports analytical world by storm, no pun intended. So please make sure that you follow all of Hardcore Sports' social media pages, because we are going to bring the fucking heat in 2023. Please make sure when you come on in, you share out the stream, share it out on all platforms, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may use. Send it to everyone that you know so that way we can get as many people in here as possible. Please make sure that when you come on in, you hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button because it's going to help me out. It's going to help Hardcore Sports out. And then, of course, hit the notifications bell. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way, you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it's the only time that you won't get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. We're probably going to see Earl a little bit later on, but we're going to light it up here for him anyway. We're going to light it up right here on the channel with my special Ace comb with a little bit of and a dash of and a whole lot of because like Campbell's soup, just like a nice gourmet meal that you get at a fancy restaurant, succulent steak with a succulent fries on the side. People, you already know that I am just so good. You already know. But I hope you guys are ready for some good stuff. We're going to get right into the festivities here, and I may as well talk about this first. This legitimately just broke yesterday. I figured that I already had my main topic for the LFU with John Cena and Logan Paul, which I'll tell you this right now, I don't mind. I don't mind. It wouldn't be my first idea, but it's not the worst thing in the world to have John Cena and Logan Paul at WrestleMania. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Vince McMahon. We're gonna start out hot. Vince McMahon. I remember back on July 22nd, 2022. I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly what I was doing when I received the news that Vince McMahon had retired. I was just getting ready to leave work because I was going over to a friend's house. My friend Ryan, shout out to him. I was going over to a friend's house from work so we could go out to another friend's play. And I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember exactly what I did. I got changed at work. Then I went to my car. I drove to his house. We went to go eat dinner. We talked about everything. Vince McMahon was legitimately our biggest topic that we were talking about as soon as I got to the house. It was absolutely ridiculous. I didn't know what to make of it. I had so many people blowing me up. Earl was texting me like fucking crazy. Vince retired back on July 22nd, 2023. And I was jumping for joy on the inside. Now, we had to go to a play to support my friend, and we had to go out to dinner. So I was keeping my composure, but on the inside, my heart was fucking doing backflips. I was jumping for joy. I couldn't have been more happier. Then all of a sudden, a few weeks back, we have a report come out that Vince intended to return to the WWE. And I didn't really think too much of it because there was another report that came out to follow it stating that the WWE higher-ups, they don't want anything to do with Vince McMahon. So I didn't really give it too much thought. Then all of a sudden, the Wall Street Journal on Thursday afternoon reported that Vince McMahon planned to return to the WWE following his retirement in 2022 amid a sexual harassment scandal in order to pursue a sale of the business. He looked to sell the company. Now, we're going to read all these reports and gather up as much information as possible before I say what I'm going to say. So we're going to take things slow. We're going to ease into it. That was the first thing that came about. Then all of a sudden, the next day, I think I saw the report from NoDQ.com first, and that was that Vince McMahon had been reinstated to the WWE Board of Directors. From there, the entire IWC was sent into a frenzy. Everyone was tweeting away. Vince was trending number one. Legitimately, the world was burning around us. And everyone was throwing a fit, and rightfully so. Then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon, he then inserted Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, two other board members that reportedly he'd been very close with. Then Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, he reported that Ignance Lahoud, I'm probably butchering that name horribly. I'm terrible with names, so give me a fucking break. Give me a break. Ignis Lahoud and Manjit Singh have both resigned from the WWE Board of Directors as of yesterday morning. and it was reported that Manjit Singh was the leading investigator on the Vince McMahon investigation with his sexual harassments internally. Manjit Singh spearheaded that investigation. PW Insider then reported that according to them, their sources, everyone was in shock that Vince McMahon returned. The feeling is that other than people in his inner circle, this took most people in the company by surprise, and there were a lot of people wondering what the hell was next, and rightfully so. The morale in the company is said to have been much better since Vince McMahon stepped down last July. PW Insider also added that they heard from some who said that they want out if Vince McMahon returns. Well, he is back, so we'll see what happens. But one has to wonder if some of these people will be let go, as Triple H brought back a lot of names that were let go when Vince was in charge. Obviously, just to name a few: Karrion Kross, Hit Row, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano left, Bronson Reed was fired, Dexter Lumis was fired. All of these individuals, among many others, were brought back to the company. According to WrestleVotes chimed in on this as well. They came in with some interesting reports. One of the reports that they came in with was stating that the sources that they had stated that all employee WWE meeting was concluded, because they did host a meeting. Nothing of note was said to have taken place, according to WrestleVotes. The meeting was conducted by Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Frank Riddick, and the message was reportedly business as usual, so it wasn't anything crazy. Vince McMahon did state in a statement following his return that he intended for his return to be strictly for the sale of the company, and he will not resume the day-to-day responsibilities of World Wrestling Entertainment because, and I quote, in his eyes, this is according to his statement, they have an exceptional management team. And WrestleVotes also chimed in, stating that the main statement of this meeting was to ensure everyone that Vince will not have any effect on the day-to-day responsibilities of the WWE, and Vince is merely back to aid in the potential sale of World Wrestling Entertainment. In a gist, that was everything that came out regarding Vince McMahon, and I'm sure plenty more will come out regarding Vince McMahon going forward into the next few weeks, into the Rumble, into the Chamber, and into WrestleMania. I don't even know where to begin. Again, I've been saying it time after time again. I am a man of many words, and I can't keep my fucking mouth shut. But it seems as though week after week, month after month, it seems as though more shit is happening now that just completely leaves me speechless. I don't even know where to begin with this. I guess I'll begin with this. I will start with this. I should have seen it coming. There's a part of me that was telling me that I should have seen this coming, but I ignored it. I let my guard down, and I truthfully believed that he was gone. I truthfully believed that that was the end, that we were going to see of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, but I should have seen this coming. I just didn't want to believe it. As soon as he said in the statement following his retirement, as soon as he said that he still owns the majority of the shares, as soon as he said that, that was a dead giveaway. That was a dead giveaway that he planned on coming back. And reportedly, the board apparently tried to stop his return. So if the board tried to stop his return, what prevented them from doing that? Does Vince McMahon really have power over the board just because he owns the majority of the shares? I really don't know finance all too well. I'm an accountant. I'm not a financial accountant. I don't study the stock market. I don't study financial majority shares analytics on a daily basis. So I'm completely unaware of this. Does Vince really have the power over the boards to do that? I mean, if he's back, I mean, I guess he does. I guess he does. I can't even comprehend how the board even allowed this to happen. I can't comprehend how anyone allowed this to happen. But man, I should have seen it coming. I really should have seen it coming. Now, let's go towards the sale aspect of it. Vince McMahon plans to return, and he wants to aid in the sale of WWE. And he doesn't plan on returning to the day-to-day operations or gaining any of the responsibilities that he lost back. Because reportedly, according to him, they have an exceptional management team going on. The exceptional management team that they have in now is good enough for him. Well, I have a very strong scent that is flowing through my nostrils. It's quite pungent, actually. It stings the nostrils. It makes my nose hairs recoil. I smell something. I don't know what it is. Oh, wait a second. I remember that smell anywhere. That is the smell of bullshit. Absolute bullshit. He has no intention to return to the day-to-day operations. Are people really believing this? You know, there's actually some people that aren't as concerned about this as others. Now, let's talk about it from the business aspect. I have heard numerous things about the business side of the United States in 2023. And listen, I'm well aware that the stock market and all of this shit going on in the financial field, I understand that the country's in a shit place financially. I understand that the economy sucks. I mean, no shit. You have Joe Biden, that illegitimate fuck, in office. If anyone believes that Joe Biden legitimately got elected as a president, you may be just as retarded as the people that think Vince McMahon is not back to reclaim what was his. Joe Biden didn't win the fucking election. We all know that. And we all know Joe Biden is a complete failure. He hasn't done a damn thing to help the country. And if you believe that he does, I have no problem calling you a fucking retard. I am well aware that the country is in a shit place financially. I have heard numerous amounts of stories about big companies like Amazon laying off tens of thousands of people because of how bad the financial market is. Yes, I'm aware. And maybe the WWE wants to get rid of that shit. Maybe the WWE wants to sell the company so that way they won't have to worry about it anymore and it's someone else's problem. Maybe that's the case. And you know what? If you were to tell me that with how bad the financial market is, and maybe WWE wants to capitalize on it while they can and possibly sell the company for more than it's actually worth, that would make sense. And I understand why someone would say that. I understand why someone would conjure up that theory. And I understand why someone would think that way. But you have to understand that what you just said makes 100% sense. When has the word sense and the name Vince McMahon correlated in the same sentence? Has Vince McMahon done anything in recent years that makes sense? Has Vince McMahon done anything in recent years that he will personally tell you, yeah, this made sense and I did it, and we can all collectively agree with them? No! Absolutely fucking not! When was the last time Vince made any move that made sense? He may be a good businessman, but at the end of the day, everything trickles down, and Vince McMahon's business decisions could very well affect every other area underneath the business aspect of WWE. On top of that, do you really think that he's back specifically for business? Of course he's not. This talent meeting wasn't a talent meeting to ensure everyone that everything's going to be okay and tell everyone the truth. No, this was a meeting to ensure everyone that, yeah, you can relax, but at the end of the day, underneath it all, underneath it all, Vince McMahon has every fucking intention to return back to power. Do you think he actually gave up that position of chairman and resigned willingly? You think he resigned willingly? No. He was forced out. Matter of fact, you want a hot take? I will give you a hot take right now to start off this year. This was all an elaborate plan from the word go. Vince McMahon, he is a born tactician. He is the slyest motherfucker that you will ever meet. Vince McMahon planned this. When the board of directors were pushing him and pushing him and pushing him and pushing him to finally fucking retire, Vince McMahon conjured up this plan and he reluctantly gave up the power. But as soon as July 23rd, as soon as July 22nd, 2022 was over, and Vince woke up on the morning of July 23rd, 2022, he was plotting his revenge and he was making plans in place to carry out at the right time. If you want me to paint this picture for you, has anyone ever seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen? Has anyone ever seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen? Now, it's not my favorite movie, but it's a very underrated movie. It starred Jamie Foxx. It starred Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler's character had his wife and his child murdered right in front of him, and Jamie Foxx was his lawyer. And Jamie Foxx made a deal with one of the killers, to admit that they did kill, or at least one of them killed the mother and the daughter. And then one of them would go to death row, and the other one would receive jail time but ultimately go free. Gerard Butler's character was pissed off that Jamie Foxx did that, and they did not even try. They did not even try to push forth and get them put in jail for life. So Gerard Butler's character, he plotted a 10-year revenge to get back at everyone that was involved in that case. And he was going on a fucking murder spree. He was out for blood, with Jamie Foxx being the number one target. It was a very good movie. Not my favorite, but I would highly encourage you to go out of your way to watch it. That is exactly what Vince McMahon did. He pulled a law-abiding citizen. As soon as July 23rd hit, he was on top of that shit, writing it down, planning and prepping everything in hopes that everything would work out correctly. And so far, everything has worked according to plan to Vince. Do you actually believe that, who is it? Fucking Ignis Lahoud and Manjit Singh, you honestly think that they resigned? They didn't fucking resign. Vince fired them. Vince fucking fired those two. You know why? Right out of the gate, when Sean Ross Sapp reported that, Manjit Singh was the lead individual that spearheaded the investigation, the sexual misconduct investigation of Vince McMahon. Do you honestly think that he's out of there because he resigned? No. Vince McMahon reinstated himself. He got reinstated by the board. He went in there with this BS plan that he plans to sell the company, and now he is out for blood. Vince McMahon has a fucking hit list. He is an assassin looking to take out his revenge, take out every last bit of anger on every single individual that forced him out of power. NXT Vengeance Day is coming up on February 4th. We got a Vengeance Day 1 month early. January 6th, 2023. It was Vince McMahon's Vengeance Day. And if you actually think it's going to stop here, you are sorely mistaken. This is Vince McMahon we are talking about. If you honestly do not believe that that man, that demented old bastard, has every single intention of getting back at everyone that got him fired. He already took out Manjit Singh and Ignis Lahoud. He already took them out. If you don't honestly believe that he has every intention of gaining back every last bit of power that he lost when he was forced to step down, you are sorely mistaken, whether it be legally or whether it be illegally. He does not give a fuck. He honestly thinks he is God himself. And you know what? With Jerry McDivitt in his pocket, he may very well be God. I don't care whether you love him or you hate him. At the end of the day, Jerry McDivitt is the greatest lawyer on the face of this planet, and Vince McMahon is paying him. If Jerry McDivitt got Vince McMahon out of the steroid trials, out of the Owen Hart scenario, and out of the Chris Benoit incident, those are 3 incidents, at least one of them, any normal person would have received jail time. None of those incidents resulted in any jail time for Vince. If Vince got out of all 3 of those scenarios and whatever other scenarios that he had to deal with Jerry McDivitt, do you honestly believe that if he tries to regain his day-to-day responsibilities, do you honestly believe that he would stop just because something is illegal or he can't touch anyone? He can't touch anyone now. But if he gains the support of the board and he regains the popular eye of the board and he reinstates board members that are very tight with him, you don't honestly believe that they'll probably cast a vote and they will vote Vince back in the chair and Vince McMahon will be the chairman of the board once again? You do not honestly believe that Vince McMahon has every intention of doing that shit? This is Vince McMahon. He is an egotistical, maniacal, power-hungry demon. He is a demented fuck. He is Satan himself. He is the closest thing that we have to Satan walking the planet today. And if he does anything illegal, he don't give a fuck. He thinks he's above the law. He has Jerry McDivitt. Vince McMahon could literally murder 50 people in the middle of Times Square with the entire New York City crowd watching him. And Jerry McDivitt will find a way to get him out of jail time. Because that's what Jerry McDivitt does. That's what he does. You honestly don't think that Vince McMahon was watching? You don't think he was watching what was going on? You don't think that he was watching everything that Triple H did? You don't think he was watching him get rid of the 24/7 championship? You don't think he was watching him bring back Karrion Kross and Hit Row and the OC and Emma and Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai and Dexter Lumis and Bronson Reed? Do you honestly think that he wasn't sitting back and watching that? That's just more ammunition. That's just adding more fuel to the fire. That's just adding more fuel to the fire. It should have been a dead giveaway that when Vince still owned the majority of the shares, that should have been the dead giveaway that something was going to happen. Something was going to happen right then and there. He had every intention, and this was an elaborate plan from the jump. And thus far, everything is working for him. He is a mastermind. He is a mastermind. And if he wants something, that motherfucker will not stop until he gets it. Until he croaks. Until he croaks. And that man no longer has a pulse. If that man is still walking among us, whenever it may be that he inevitably leaves this earth, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, whether it be tomorrow, whether he lives till he's 150, and he's chronologically frozen, whenever that may be, whenever Vince no longer has a heartbeat and he no longer has air in his lungs, then and only then will the WWE finally be free. Then and only then will we finally be free. Only then will we finally begin the real process of rehabilitation. Hell, Triple H hasn't even started the real process of rehabilitation. Triple H has been tasked with cleaning up Vince McMahon's mess. And in doing so, he gave WWE a hot streak that we haven't seen in years. SummerSlam, Clash at the Castle, Extreme Rules, Crown Jewel, and Survivor Series. All 5 of those pay-per-views were booked and produced by Triple H. Everything about those shows was conducted under Triple H's watch. And those 5 pay-per-views ended up being 5 very solid shows. Some were better than others, but at the end of the day, those 5 shows those 5 shows, 5 solid pay-per-views, main roster pay-per-views, 5 solid main roster pay-per-views in a row, Triple H produced, and the majority of what we saw on all of those pay-per-views were thumbs up. When was the last time WWE main roster had a decent streak of 5 solid main roster pay-per-views in a row? That's never happened before. That's unheard of. That hasn't been done since the fucking Ruthless Aggression era. When was the last time WWE had a 5 pay-per-view streak where 5 pay-per-views in a row they delivered in some way, shape, or form? That is unheard of. That is unheard of in years. Triple H did that. You don't think that Vince saw that? You don't think that Vince McMahon was aware of that? You don't think that Vince McMahon was aware of all the praise that Triple H was getting? Whether anyone wants to admit it or not, Vince McMahon hates his son-in-law. Vincent Kennedy McMahon hates Paul Levesque. If Paul Levesque was to drop dead tomorrow, God forbid, Vince McMahon would not bat an eye. He doesn't care. And you know why? Because Triple H did something that Vince McMahon cannot stand. Well before AEW came into the picture, Triple H, he wasn't just upstaging Vince McMahon. He was embarrassing Vince McMahon. Every single NXT takeover, every single NXT weekly event, every single NXT production under the black and gold banner from 2014 all the way to 2020 when Vince really started to take over control. All of those shows, all of those takeovers, every single main roster Big 4 pay-per-view, a takeover followed. A takeover was right there, and a takeover absolutely shit all over the main roster. They shit all over everything Vince McMahon produced. NXT TakeOver New York in 2019 on April 5th, 2 days before WrestleMania 35. NXT TakeOver New York was better than the last 10 WrestleManias. And I'm even putting that over WrestleMania 31. Even the great WrestleMania 31, and that was one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Even the great WrestleMania 31 did not top NXT TakeOver New York. You don't think that is sat with Vince McMahon all these years? You don't think that sat with Vince McMahon? You don't think that Vince McMahon made it a mission to strip Triple H of everything? He stripped him of everything. He castrated him. He stripped him of all of his power, and he put him in a fucking desk sharpening pencils up in Stanford. And he put Triple H in there. That's what happens when you upstage me, when you embarrass me. This is my way. I'm doing it my way, and you're going to sit there. And then all these sexual allegations came out. All these sexual allegations came out, and Vince McMahon had the rug ripped out from underneath him. You don't think that Vince McMahon had vengeance on his mind? That man is out to mount head after head after head on his wall. That man is out for the biggest revenge that he has ever gone out for. That man is back with a vengeance. That man is back to take what he forcefully had to give up. You don't think that Vince McMahon has been watching all the praise that Triple H has been getting? Triple H has been getting more praise than Tony Khan as of lately. And that's not because Tony Khan's doing a bad job. It's just because Triple H finally, after all these years, is in a position, the position that he's deserved, the position that he rightfully earned, the position that he should have been in 10 years ago, the position that he should have assumed as soon as CM Punk left, the position that he should have been in for all these years. Triple H was in that position. Triple H has been running WWE better than Vince McMahon over the course of the last 6 months. Vince McMahon isn't back to merely sell the company. And let's just say, even if he does, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that he is back to sell the company. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that he's not going to regain all the responsibilities that he once lost, and he does not have a master plan in place to regain all of those responsibilities. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, he is back for merely the sell of the company. Do you honestly believe, do you honestly believe that the buyer, whoever this buyer is, whether it be Apple, NBC, Fox, Amazon, Disney, whoever it may be, do you honestly trust the buyer to do right by the company? NBC Universal is one of the top bidders. According to an investment firm, I believe it was MRM Partners, they're an investment firm. They think that Comcast, which owns NBC Universal, they think that they're going to buy out the WWE. NBC Universal instituted the 24/7 title. They don't know jack shit about professional wrestling. Whoever the buyer may be, even if Vince intends to sell the company and we do get someone buying it, do you trust the buyer to do right by that company? I sure as hell fucking don't. That company needs to be in the hands of someone that knows professional wrestling. That company needs to be in the hands of someone that eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling, that does what they do for the fucking fans, that has the motto to make each show better than the last. For all we know, NBC Universal could buy WWE and make it into fucking Sesame Street. But either way, Vince McMahon is not back to merely help the company in the business aspect. You are not going to convince me, no matter what, that Vince McMahon is back merely for the business aspect. This is Vince McMahon. He is an egomaniac, right down to the very last letter. He is a maniacal son of a bitch. He is a petty, vengeful motherfucker. Vince McMahon is back to take WWE into the grave with him. Vince McMahon is back to destroy what Triple H is doing, whether it be with him regaining power or whether it be with a new buyer. Because I know for a fact that Disney, Apple, Amazon, NBC, Fox, I know for a fact that they are not going to do right by the company unless they leave Triple H to do what he's doing. It may start out that way in the beginning. Triple H, let's say Disney buys WWE. Disney buys WWE. Triple H may do what he wants in the beginning, but slowly but surely, week after week, month after month, we will see Disney start to insert some of their own flavor of entertainment into WWE. Pretty soon, Disney will be pretty much running WWE. And it will be a slow death. It will be a slow, painful death where we will all have to sit back and watch Triple H's creation deteriorate. Meanwhile, we are in the embryonic stages of Triple H's rehabilitation, and Vince McMahon is looking to abort that shit. Vince McMahon is back with an intention to sell the company in order to get back at Triple H or, because this is, you know for a fact that this is where it's going. He is going to regain power, and he's looking to take WWE into the grave with him. He will not stop. He would not stop until WWE is no more, because he cannot stand unless he croaks or WWE croaks. He will not stop. He will not stop. And nothing will truthfully get better until Vince McMahon is not walking among us anymore. When that man is 6 feet under in a grave, that will be the day where we will all rejoice, because WWE will finally be in a better place. Vince McMahon has every intention on destroying that company because he cannot stand when someone does something better than him. He would rather take that company into the grave rather than watch it succeed and watch it flourish without him as a member of the executive team. Or of any team, creative team, management, chairman, executive. He cannot stand the fact that he needed to give up power. And he put a plan in place. He put a plan in place to gain his way back into the company in order to destroy it once and for all. And you are not going to tell me otherwise. I am going to be watching this shit like a fucking hawk. I'm going to be watching this shit like a hawk. And you know what? I hope that we have a company-wide walkout. I hope that a lot of the people that said, oh, they want out if Vince is back, I truthfully hope that they walk out. Because that's the only way that shit's going to get done. I hope they walk out. I really do. It's an absolute fucking joke. Whether it be with Vince returning to power or the buyer of WWE inserting their own shit flavor into WWE's recipe, it is going to be, this is a disaster waiting to happen. This is an absolute disaster. This is a nightmare that we will never wake up from. When Vince is gone, when Vince is dead, that's when the nightmare is over. Someone needs to put that man on permanent house arrest. And you know what? I don't want the WWE to go under. I really don't. But at the same point in time, there's a small part of me that wishes WWE would go under. There's a small part of me that wishes it would just go under. It's like Old Yeller. Like the story of Old Yeller. Just put it out of its misery. I hope that it goes under just so Vince McMahon would finally be fucking happy. Just so he would finally be fucking happy and we would finally be free. And we would finally be free. I will update you on any new pieces of information that we get going forward. An absolute fucking joke. An absolute fucking joke. I hope you guys have enjoyed that rant. Good way to start off the year with me nearly giving myself an aneurysm live on camera. We have a few more reports before we get into the weekly shows. And WWE's weekly shows this week, they were in the shitter. They were in the shitter this week. Not AEW. AEW came out of the box this week. But we got a few more reports before we get into the weekly show reviews. Brian Alvarez. He reported that he was under the impression, now this is his impression, this is just his opinion, this is just his prediction. He is under the impression that Naomi will be back in WWE. Sasha, aka Mercedes Moné, we saw her debut this past Wednesday at Wrestle Kingdom. She attacked Kairi, and they will be fighting at Battle of the Valley, New Japan Pro Wrestling's February show. That is going to be on February 18th, the same day as the Elimination Chamber, and that show has sold out. Mercedes is a draw. But Naomi, she was actually in Japan along with FTR and Bayley. FTR had a match, but they also showed their support to Sasha Banks, formerly known as Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Moné. And Brian Alvarez, he thinks that Naomi will be back in WWE. I can actually see that. Mainly because of the fact that her husband is still in WWE. However, with this new news of Vince McMahon, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that whatsoever. I don't know about that at all, to be quite honest with you. Sasha and Naomi, with this news that Vince McMahon is reportedly back, they look like geniuses for walking out, and they didn't come back. They didn't resign. They look like geniuses in the end. Why would you come back unless Vince McMahon truthfully is gone? Especially considering that the women's division really doesn't look all that good anyway. The women's division really doesn't look all that good anyway, so why would they waste their time? Why would they waste their time with the division that is still in the same position that it was in when they left, and it hasn't truthfully gotten better when they could go out and pursue other inquiries? Now, where does Naomi go? I honestly don't know. She could also join New Japan. We could potentially see her in New Japan. We could potentially see her in Stardom, or we could potentially see her in AEW, maybe Ring of Honor. Maybe when Ring of Honor gets their weekly TV show, Maybe Naomi's going to be there. She's going to be a centerpiece there with Athena and Mercedes Martinez. We could see that. That's potential. The potential's there. But that's something I'm going to keep an eye on right there. It's rather interesting, but at the same point in time, I can see her back, but I can't see her back. I can see her back because ultimately that division needs her, and her husband works there, but I can't see her back because of what happened with Vince and the fact that he's back as a member of the board. And even if Naomi does go to AEW, they're not going to take that out on the Usos. Why would they take that out on the Usos? The Usos are the Usos. They're the greatest tag team of all time. The Usos are not going to be buried. So why would Naomi have any worry that they would take anything out on her husband? He's a member of the bloodline. You piss off Roman Reigns, then you're in some deep shit. If Roman don't get what he wants and Roman don't have his family wildly respected, shit's not going to favor well for you. They bend over backwards for Roman. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Naomi. But Naomi right now is a big question mark. Dave Meltzer, sticking with the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer provided an update on the absence of certain NXT UK superstars, including Tyler Bate, Gallus, and Doudrop, also known as Piper Niven. It was reported that they are all currently having visa issues, and they are trying to set them straight as we speak. They are all trying to sort them out as we are currently talking. Now, I had a feeling, but at the same point in time, I didn't think that some of these stars would have wanted to continue working in the United States. But either way, Tyler Bate, Gallus, and Doudrop, they are all trying to sort out work visas. So hopefully we get them back sooner rather than later, because Gallus is a great stable. Gallus is a fantastic stable, and I want to see more of them on NXT. And Tyler Bate is one of the best pro wrestlers that company has. Tyler Bate is legitimately the UK version of Johnny Gargano. So give me Tyler Bate. Give me Tyler Bate. Here is the big story. Big story according to WrestlingNews.co. John Cena and Logan Paul is one of the matches planned for WrestleMania. Back in November, Logan Paul stated that he wanted that match. Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of differing stances and beliefs and opinions on this, but I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I don't mind this. If this happens, I really don't mind this. Specifically because of what Logan Paul is capable of doing. Look at what Logan Paul did in his first 3 matches. Logan Paul legitimately took WWE by the balls, and Logan Paul made WWE his. Logan Paul went out of his way, and Logan Paul absolutely tore the fucking house down. He had a great performance at WrestleMania. He brought The Miz to The Miz's best matchup since his match with Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy in 2016. The Miz and Logan Paul, according to some, was their match of the night. I do not look at you weird if you tell me that. That was a great match. And then you got Roman Reigns and Logan Paul, which was one of my top 10 best matches of the year. So if we get Logan Paul at WrestleMania against John Cena, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I mind this, because if he put on what he put on with The Miz and Roman, imagine what he could do with Cena. That's a big-time money matchup. And it won't just be another typical celebrity matchup just to get the headlines. It would actually be a good wrestling matchup. My only concern is this. You got some other stars. You got Edge. You got Stone Cold in there. Who do they face? Because John Cena was pitched by many people in the IWC to either go one-on-one with Edge or Stone Cold. Now, I would have been perfectly okay with either of those matches, but at the end of the day, if Logan Paul is fighting John Cena, let's just say for argument's sake he is, what happens to Edge and what happens to Stone Cold? I don't know. Now, Edge is reportedly set to wrap up his feud with the Judgment Day. Let's talk about Stone Cold first. There's multiple different ways that you can go with Stone Cold. Maybe you could do Stone Cold versus Edge. Stone Cold versus Edge would probably be the next best thing to John Cena versus Stone Cold, because Edge is painted in the same light as John Cena. He's a Hall of Famer. He's an 11-time world champion. He's done it all. And Edge right now is probably better now than he was then. Edge is doing some phenomenal work. Edge has done some great work this year with AJ Styles and with the Judgment Day, with Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio as well. So at the end of the day, I would not mind an Edge versus Stone Cold match. But I got a bold prediction here. Listen to this. I got a bold prediction. You know who has been getting a lot of shine as of lately? You know who has been a main priority under the Triple H administration? I can honestly see Stone Cold fighting Finn Balor. What if Finn Balor gets the matchup with Stone Cold? Finn Balor's been on a hot streak. He's been getting victories over Dolph Ziggler, Rey Mysterio, Matt Riddle. He beat Edge. He beat Edge in an I Quit match back at Extreme Rules. He beat Edge. So if we are in a scenario where Finn Balor is getting a lot of shine and he's going to be a major priority in 2023, what if we get a clash of generations? I mean, Stone Cold did it with Kevin Owens. What if he does it with Finn Balor? I don't know about you, but that would be a very intriguing matchup. Now, what happens with Edge? Edge is reportedly set to wrap up his feud with Finn Balor at the Royal Rumble, and we're probably going to get Balor and Edge inside Hell in a Cell at the Rumble, with Edge coming out victorious. So if Balor moves on to Stone Cold, what happens with Edge? I'm going to get you out there with another bold prediction. Here's another bold prediction. What if Edge goes into WrestleMania against Bray Wyatt? Bray Wyatt is obviously not going to be feuding with LA Knight all the way up until WrestleMania. LA Knight's going to move on to something new, and Bray Wyatt's going to need a bigger name to go up against. And I don't know about you, but I'd say that's a very intriguing match. That's a dream match for many. Edge versus Bray Wyatt? I don't know about you. I think that Edge versus Bray Wyatt would be a great idea. And if Wyatt's going to introduce the Wyatt Six, if we're going to get a legit Wyatt Six faction forming, what if Edge brings back the Edgeheads? What if Edge brings back Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, and Brian Myers, a.k.a. Kurt Hawkins? And we have Edge and the Edgeheads versus Bray Wyatt and his faction, because at some point in time, the individuals are going to have to start revealing themselves for the Wyatt Six. You could branch off Edge and Bray Wyatt into multiple different types of programs. I would very much love to see what Bray Wyatt could do with someone like Edge. So if we get Balor and Edge at the Rumble, if we get Balor and Austin, Edge and Wyatt, and Cena and Logan Paul, that's a very intriguing three-match lineup for WrestleMania's card, along with whatever else they want to put on the card. I don't know about you, but I would absolutely love to see that. Let me know what you think. I got a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. CM Punk obviously has teased making an AEW comeback, obviously with Dax Harwood and the podcast that they had and everything that went into that. Obviously, we could very well be on the verge. Of CM Punk coming back to AEW. However, I don't know how that would work. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, several AEW top stars, including Chris Jericho, he reportedly told the locker room that he would ensure that CM Punk would not return to the to AEW. CM Punk would not return to AEW, according to Chris Jericho. I don't know if I believe that for sure. I don't know if I believe that for sure, mainly because of the fact that it doesn't really sound like something that Chris Jericho would say. Chris Jericho has been a very good locker room leader. Chris Jericho has been a very good locker room leader. Chris Jericho has been one of the key pillars that has held the AEW locker room together, along with Moxley and with Bryan. Those three are the top three individuals to be leading a locker room with the seniority and the respect that they all have. Now, I'm not sure what exactly we could be on the verge of when it comes to CM Punk, but I mean, time does heal all wounds. Time does heal all wounds. And the Elite would be absolutely idiotic if they would not make money off of this. If we have, just imagine this. Can you imagine if we get the Elite and Death Triangle next week, and we could potentially see FTR cost the Elite the Trios Championships, or let's say the Elite win the Trios Championships, and then let's say the Elite fight the House of Black at Revolution. Who's to say that FTR and CM Punk does not cost them? We've certainly seen crazier things happen, but at the end of the day, I mean, I don't understand how anyone could look at that and not want to have that carried out on television and not have them make money off of it. Now, don't get me wrong. CM Punk was absolutely in the wrong with what he did. Are there people that are children backstage? Yes. Britt Baker is an entitled bitch. Jade Cargill is an egotistical cunt. Sammy Guevara has been acting like a childish motherfucker multiple times over the course of the last couple of months. There are children in that locker room. He's right, but that doesn't mean that he should go out on a post-media scrum after one of their biggest shows of the year and bury the company as its world champion right in front of the fucking CEO. If you want to be mad at the children in the locker room, fine. You could be mad, but don't go out on a post-media scrum and do that shit. I can see Chris Jericho doing that, and I can see some of the members of the locker room ensuring that CM Punk won't be back because the locker room probably hates CM Punk. But at the same point in time, I can't really see him doing something like that because it just seems so over the top. We've seen crazier things happen, but that just seems so fucking over the top. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think, and it's going to be an interesting topic to keep our eyes on going forward. But as far as CM Punk goes, I mean, deep down, I do want him to come back. In my heart of hearts, I really do want CM Punk to come back. I think that CM Punk back in AEW as a heel, and if we are looking down the verge of a heel CM Punk versus a babyface Kenny Omega, potentially at Double or Nothing, I mean, I would be all for that. I would be all for that. I don't know about you, but something tells me that maybe in the end, all of this will end up working itself out. And I don't think that Tony Khan really wants to fire Punk. But how willing is Punk to go out there and apologize for what he did? How willing is CM Punk to go out there and admit that he was wrong? Because he was wrong. The Elite was in the wrong too. But Punk was the number one person that was in the wrong. I'd like to hope that everything will work itself out in the end. That's another thing. Aside from the Vince McMahon thing, that's another thing that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. That right there is probably the second biggest topic in the world of wrestling, CM Punk, and him potentially returning and working shit out. We'll have to wait and see. And my final report, AJ Styles. If you guys have not already been made aware, AJ Styles is indeed injured. There was a scare at a WWE house show last week. Pictures of AJ Styles being attended to by ringside doctors circulated Twitter, and it was confirmed by Styles himself that he suffered a broken ankle. He tweeted out last week, and I quote, "Just wanted you guys to know that I'm okay. Broken ankle is what I'm dealing with. No surgery. This just takes time to recover. This will be the longest I've ever been out of the ring. Thanks for the prayers and get well wishes. End quote. This sucks. This sucks for AJ Styles. Even though Styles wasn't really a big priority on WWE TV in the last couple of months, this sucks. This really does suck for AJ Styles. And you know, I really do hope that it's not broken in multiple places. I really do hope that AJ Styles just has one little break. I hope that it's not 5 different places it's broken. I really do hope that somehow Styles is able to make it back by the end of February, beginning of March, just in time for WrestleMania. I hope. I really do hope. We'll have to wait and see. But thoughts and prayers go out to AJ Styles, and I hope that he's back sooner rather than later because AJ Styles is one of the best. And WWE is not going to favor too well without AJ Styles because AJ Styles brings a lot to the table. Those are the news, rumors, and reports. We are going to get into the weekly show reviews, but I hope you guys are having a good time. Thank you to Hooligan, the Final Horse, DD. Shout out to Lisa Wardlow as well. Thank you to Sleeping Angels. You guys have been fantastic since the jump, and we are not done yet. We got plenty more to dissect. We got ourselves 5 weekly shows to dissect. 5 weekly shows to dissect. And WWE TV this week, I don't know what happened. Matter of fact, I do know what happened. Vince McMahon happened, and it is damn Vince McMahon to hell all day, every day. But Raw and SmackDown this week, I don't know what happened. They really did not. They did not start off on the right foot. Raw wasn't terrible. It just didn't have that wow factor. Minus the beginning and the end. So, Raw started off with the Bloodline. They were destroying the ringside area. The Usos were taking out the commentary booth and flipping the table. Owens then came out. Zayn told Owens that this is a hostile takeover, and he said that people will get hurt, and it's because of you. Owens then said, I swore I had something to say, but all I want to do is punch you in the face. So Pierce then came out, and he told the Bloodline to leave the ring peacefully. The security tried to escort them out, but Solo took them out with ease. Owens then charged the ring. We got a huge brawl. Pierce yelled for the locker room, and here's what I love about this opening segment. If you guys paid attention, every member of the locker room came out. Every single member of the locker room that came out was attacked by the Bloodline. So that right there is storyline continuation. Every member of the locker room that came out was attacked by the Bloodline, and they ran them off. So Pierce then said, you're not getting out of Dodge at all. I am putting every single one of you in matches tonight, and that is official. Great start. That was a hot start to Raw, and that's exactly what we needed. The Bloodline right now, this right here, what's going on with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn, this is easily the best storyline in all of pro wrestling right now, minus behind whatever MJF is doing. This is fantastic. Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship, however, this was not fantastic. I really do not know what it is, but a few months ago, I was actually starting to get behind Alexa Bliss. A few months ago, I was actually starting to give Alexa Bliss credit. She was clean. She was crisp. She did her moves correctly, especially that tag team match with Asuka and Damage Control at Crown Jewel. Then we get to this match. I don't know what the fuck happened. It's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Alexa Bliss. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. It's either Alexa Bliss is not even trying, or she is just a terrible professional wrestler. And you know what? I'm going to go with the latter. I don't know what happened here, but this did not come off well at all. This match, it was very slow. It was very, very clunky. It almost looked like Bianca and Alexa, they didn't even know what they wanted to do. It's like they were coming up with their moves on the fly, and they didn't rehearse this shit at all. This is the first match of 2023, and this is what you start with? Please, could someone tell me? I would love to know, why is Alexa Bliss employed? And don't tell me merch sales. The Bloodline are the #1 merch sellers. The Bloodline are the #1 merch sellers. Sami Zayn is the #1 merch seller. And I don't need any analytical individual to tell me that shit. Alexa ain't doing shit. If I was given a list, and listen, I do not condone anyone losing their job. I don't condone anyone without a position to support themselves. I want people to support themselves. But if you're not adding value to a company, I don't understand why you're even there. If I was given a list of the top 3 people, if you were to tell me, DJ, who are your top 3 people that you would fire from WWE? And I quote, it would be Omos, Ronda Rousey, and Alexa Bliss. She legitimately adds no value. I don't even know why she's there. She is there to do nothing more than look pretty. She's nothing but a pretty face. She's nothing but a pretty face. You know who else is a pretty face? Jamie Hayter. And Jamie Hayter wrestles as if she's looking to murder someone. That backbreaker could snap a spine into 2. When Alexa Bliss learns to wrestle like that, then we can talk. What happened in this match legitimately was a waste of time. And I remember seeing a tweet. This is the last thing I'll say about this before I say what happened in the end. Raj Giri. Now, I don't know Raj Giri personally, but I don't mind Raj Giri. I think Raj Giri is a very, very, very good wrestling analyst. He's not the best, but I don't mind him. Raj Giri said, watching Alexa beat down Bianca is like watching The Miz kick the shit out of Brock Lesnar. Now, Bianca is in no way, shape, or form comparable to Brock Lesnar, but I understand what he was trying to say there, and I give that tweet 2 thumbs up. Raj Giri, you are DJ Storms approved. That was a brilliant tweet. I also see some people saying, no, you got to release Charlotte Flair. Listen. My gripe is not with Charlotte Flair when it comes to her in-ring skill. Charlotte is a decent wrestler. She's just not booked well. If Charlotte was put in a position where she was competing in matches and putting others over, I would not mind her. If Charlotte is going to help put others over, that's fine. The reason why I hate her is because she's always in the title picture. But Charlotte is not a bad wrestler. Charlotte actually has a little bit of value in terms of her in-ring skill. Charlotte is not a bad wrestler. It's her booking that's the problem. And the fact that she's an entitled cunt. But regardless of that, Charlotte, I would much rather see her in the undercard helping put others over. If she was in that role, I would be praising Charlotte. But all of a sudden, towards the end of this match, Bliss saw someone or a couple of people in the crowd wearing Uncle Howdy masks. All of a sudden, the Bray Wyatt Moth logo then flashed up on the screen, and Alexa Bliss was having headaches. All of a sudden, she snapped. She attacked the referee. She sent Bianca into the post. She DDT'd her on the ring steps. And Bianca looked to be busted open, and then Bliss did it a second time, and she walked off. This was nothing more than a route to turn Alexa Bliss heel. Now, Alexa's finally a heel. Fine. But, there is a but. If Alexa Bliss is going to be aligned with Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt Six better be a fucking faction. We need Wyatt, Bliss, Vincent, and Dutch of the Righteous, Bo Dallas, Brother Bo, And then you can bring back Eric Redbeard as a callback to the original Wyatt family. That is the Wyatt Six that I would do. And if Bliss is going to be in a managerial role, managing the Wyatt Six, I have no issue with that at all. I don't have a single issue with that whatsoever. But if Bray and Bliss are going to be a duo, that's going to be a problem. Because Bliss killed the Fiend act and stole it. She stole it from Bray Wyatt. No matter what you want to say, she stole it from Bray Wyatt. If we're going to get Bliss aligned with Wyatt, it better be with the Wyatt Six. Because if she's in a duo with Bray Wyatt, this is going to bring Bray Wyatt down. This is going to bring him down, and it is going to ruin Bray Wyatt's appeal and his return. It's going to ruin it. I don't mind the heel turn as long as it's with Alexa as a member of the Wyatt Six, not simply in a duo with Bray Wyatt. We don't need that shit. That shit failed the first time around. Either way, whatever gets her out of a wrestling ring and keeps her out of a wrestling ring, I'm all for it. Now, from there, we actually went into something that was pretty decent. Elias had a little concert before he was interrupted by Solo Sikoa. He was interrupted by Solo Sikoa, and we get a Music City street fight. And this was probably the second best thing on the show. This was probably the second best thing on the show from an in-ring perspective minus the main event. This was probably Elias's best match in years. So Solo took a cowbell, but Elias took it from him and hit Solo with it. We then saw Elias go for a guitar. Solo avoided the guitar. Solo then tossed Elias into a drum kit. Elias then hit Solo with a cymbal, and he sent Solo crashing over the barricade. Coming back from commercial, we had the fight spilling out on the stage. Solo then hit Elias with a microphone. Elias then was tossed into a drum set. Solo then used a cymbal stand on Elias. Solo with a Samoan drop in the ring to Elias. Elias then took a tambourine and bashed Solo in the head with it. Then he took an electric piano. He took an electric piano off the stand and smashed it over Solo's back, which looked like it fucking hurt. You couldn't pay me all the money to take that shit. Solo then came in with a belly-to-belly suplex. Elias then used the tambourine again. He had a stinger splash and a nice spine buster. On the outside, Elias then hit Solo with another electric piano. Elias then took a guitar from musician Hardy. I've never heard of him before. Hardy then saw that Elias was in trouble, and this was probably one of my favorite parts of the match. Hardy came in, bashed a guitar over Solo's back, and Solo did not budge. So this was great. Hardy hit Solo in the back with a guitar. The guitar shattered. Solo didn't even sell it. And Solo turns around and looks at Hardy with this look that says, I'm going to murder this motherfucker. I don't know what it was, but Solo's facial expressions when he turned around and he was standing face to face with Hardy, he was looking at Hardy like, your punk ass better run out of this fucking ring and run fast. I thought that was great. I thought that was awesome. So Elias tried to take over control. Elias then he went up to the top. He tried to go for a guitar shot with the shattered guitar. Solo with a Samoan spike out of the air. He then takes Elias out to the apron and delivers a spinning solo off the apron onto the grand piano. And he pins Elias 1, 2, 3 to get the win. Solo Sikoa, let me tell you something. If you want a highlight of WWE, if you want to talk about members of the bloodline that are from best to worst. Sammy's obviously the best. But Solo, I'm putting Solo right underneath Sami Zayn. Solo has been booked perfectly. He's legitimately been booked perfectly. He's a silent killer. I love Solo Sikoa's booking. If Solo Sikoa keeps on being booked like this, then I can honestly see Solo as a top-tier contender to potentially take the IC title off of whoever takes it off of Gunther. Sheamus, if Sheamus is going to beat Gunther, let's say, I can absolutely see Sheamus dropping it to Solo when the time is right. If Sheamus is going to take the title off of Gunther at Elimination Chamber, and Gunther is going to go in and he's going to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, I can honestly see Solo Sikoa taking the title off of Sheamus at SummerSlam. I think Solo has progressed beautifully. He's doing great work. So that was a fun match. From there, we go into Sami Zayn and the Usos versus Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. And this was a decent little match. Nothing too crazy. Solo ended up getting involved, which led to Sammy getting the haluva kick on Montez Ford to get the win. And then afterwards, the Bloodline attacked Owens. Sammy got a chair. He was going to take Owens out for good before McIntyre and Sheamus showed up to save Owens. And they stood tall. They stood tall in the end. And we got a build going into their matchup with the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team titles. Not bad. From there, we got Dexter Lumis and Chad Gable. This only went about 4 minutes, and I'm trying to figure out why it only went 4 minutes. You really couldn't have shaved off a couple of minutes from Alexa and Bianca, and you couldn't have given some more time to Dexter Lumis and Chad Gable? Dexter Lumis is a great pro wrestler, and Dexter Lumis is not going to get over if you only put him in 4-minute matches. Now, it was entertaining for the 4 minutes that it went, but it was nothing memorable. It was nothing memorable at all. Now, I love what Lumis is all about, and I love how Lumis wrestles, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to say, oh my God, you got to go out and watch this. It only went 4 minutes. There should not be a match. There should not be a match with anyone that is a full-time talent going under 10 minutes. 10-minute matches. We need Dexter Lumis and Chad Gable in 10-minute matches minimal every week. That's what we need. It is World Wrestling Entertainment. Give us the wrestling. Give us less of the garbage wrestling with Alexa Bliss and more of the real wrestling with Lumis and Gable. Please. Dexter Lumis wins with a tight pin. I don't know where this is going. I'm not really sure how Lumis is going to continue what's going on with Bronson Reed and The Miz. I don't even know where Johnny Gargano was on this show. We had a fantastic promo package for Cody Rhodes, and I loved every minute of this promo package. I'm just letting you all know, if Cody Rhodes does not win the Royal Rumble and he does not face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, you may as well not even have WrestleMania season. I do not want to be a part of a WrestleMania season if it's not a WrestleMania season where Cody Rhodes doesn't win the Royal Rumble. If Cody Rhodes doesn't win the Royal Rumble, I don't want this WrestleMania season. Just cancel it. Cody Rhodes or bust. Cody Rhodes or bust. Damage Control. Damage Control, they had a promo. Damage Control came out and they were reminiscing about how they formed at SummerSlam. Bayley and Damage Control hyped themselves up. Bayley discussed her victory over Becky Lynch and said that it was fun and she did it all by herself. Becky then came out and she said, "Shut up, Bayley, you dope." Becky then said, "It's the same thing week after week. Unable to do anything by yourself. It took you years to step out of someone else's shadow." Wink, wink, Sasha Banks. And it looks like they are doing all the hard work and you are taking all the glory. When I lose, I don't whine. I get better. How about we end this tonight in Nashville? Bayley then said, "No." Becky then said, I already beat you, said Bayley. How about you find the partner and you fight these two? Becky then said, well, I don't have a phone, but 2-on-1, yeah, seems fair. So we had Becky versus Damage Control to start off the match, but it ended up turning into a tag team match because Mia Yim came down to ringside, and she got up on the apron, and she joined Becky as her partner. So it looks like Mia Yim is joining this program with Becky and Damage Control. Yim with a suicide dive on Dakota Kai. Coming back from commercial, Yim was isolated. We had a crossface by Io. Lynch then dropped Kai on the floor and into the barricade. Lynch then with a missile drop kick for a 2 count. Yim and Lynch then with a double superplex on Dakota Kai. Io then saved the match. Yim with a drop kick to Sky. Spike Rana in the ropes by Mia Yim, which looked nasty. Bayley then put Dakota Kai's foot on the rope. Becky then went after Bayley. Io Shirai was in the ring. She took out Mia Yim with a moonsault, and Damage Control gets the win in a very solid tag team match, and she ends up beating Mia Yim, does Io Sky. Now, the positive in this, Becky Lynch, she is putting people over. She's putting people over, and 2, Damage Control is feeling like a legit threat. Damage Control is feeling like a legit threat. However, will it last? Will this last? I don't know. I really don't know. Are people really going to care? Is the damage already done? Is the damage already done to a point where no one will care about Damage Control? Now, Damage Control has been booked pretty well coming out of War Games. They've been winning matches. They have not been taking any unnecessary losses. They've been looking strong in the end. But at the end of the day, how much more can you do with Damage Control? It seems as though Damage Control has already run its course. The women's tag team titles legitimately mean nothing. Even if we do get Becky and Mia taking on Damage Control for the women's tag team titles, it's not like it's going to be anything of note. It's not. I'm sorry. I don't know. I really don't know. But it looks like Becky and Bayley is going to be the matchup that they're going to be focusing on going into WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. This was for the United States Championship. Seth Rollins had a scare in this match where he fell on his knee trying to come in with a powerbomb on Austin Theory. So hopefully Seth Rollins is not injured and he's just a great seller. But this was pretty scary. This was pretty scary to say the least. But in the end, we got an excellent fucking match for the United States Championship. And Austin Theory he's going to be a big deal. He's going to be a big deal this year, and I am loving the creative direction for Austin Theory. So Rollins and Theory chopped the shit out of each other early on. We had a springboard flying knee by Rollins. Theory then with a rolling drop kick for a 2. Theory with a ground and pound on Rollins. Theory then bashed Rollins face first onto the announce table. Coming back from commercial, Rollins mounted a comeback with a tope suicida, backbreaker for a 2. Both men traded counters back and forth. Rollins couldn't get Theory up for a powerbomb, and he sold the knee. This is where we all thought that Rollins may have been injured. Now, he finished the match like a beast, so I don't know. Maybe he's just a great seller. I'd like to hope Rollins is not injured. So Rollins couldn't get Theory up for a powerbomb, and he sold the knee. Theory then went up top, superplex by Rollins. Theory then reversed the Falcon Arrow into a knee drop brainbuster. Rollins then kicked out. They went strike for strike, enziguris and forearms. Both men were down. Rollins then with a rolling elbow to the back. Seth could not get the stomp. Theory went to take his ball and go home, but Rollins went right after him. Super kick and a frog splash connects. Theory kicked out. Rollins was then shoved into the referee. The pedigree connects. Another official came out. 1, 2. Theory kicked out. Rollins then behind the referee's back was caught with a low blow. Theory with a low blow to Seth Rollins. And then Theory hit A-Town down for the 1-2-3 win. And Austin Theory retains the United States Championship in an excellent match. A match that was the right way to start off Raw's main event reputation for 2023. But however, outside of the opening segment and the main event, Raw wasn't bad. We did have some decent things on the show, but it seems as though outside of the Bloodline, outside of Austin Theory, Gunther, and Rhea Ripley, everything else in WWE just feels flat. I'd like to hope that Rollins is not out with a long-term injury. It is going to be really, really sucky if he is, because Rollins is in a position where he could very well be a top-tier guy coming out of WrestleMania. And it sucks. I would really like to see more from Seth Rollins, but Rollins, he could very well be out, and that sucks. And we're going to have Rollins and Styles out. That sucks. That is a huge blow to WWE. And Monday Night Raw isn't all that good as it is. It's not going to work out too well in the end. Really, it isn't. Raw wasn't bad. There was just no excitement coming out of Raw, minus the Bloodline and Rollins in Theory. I hope you guys are having a good time. We are going to continue on with the weekly show reviews. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. AEW this week. This was a great week for AEW TV. AEW fucking brought it. Seattle brought it. Portland brought it. Rampage, Battle of the Belts, and Dynamite. They all brought it. And we're going to talk about it right now. Chris Jericho and Ricky Starks kicked off the first Dynamite of the new year in Seattle. And I gotta say, the new set and the lighting looks great. The new set and the lighting looks great. I am loving the new set for AEW. And AEW, they were off to a great start with a very good match with Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. Both men matched up evenly early on. We had a fireman's carry gourd buster by Starks for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Starks with a lariat and a sit-out Liger bomb for a 2. Jericho went for the lion salt, but Starks got the knees up. Super kick by Starks for a 2. Codebreaker by Jericho for a 2. We had the Rochambeau being reversed into the walls of Jericho, and it was in deep. Angelo Parker distracted Aubrey Edwards, and Matt Menard hit Starks in the face with the bat, and he looked to be knocked out. Aubrey checked on Starks, and on the last arm raise, he went for the 1, 2, 3 arm raise. On the last arm raise, Starks fired himself up, and Starks was able to get out of the walls. Small package for a 2. Tornado DDT by Starks. He then took out Parker and Menard. A spear to Jericho right on the money. And Starks gets the 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle of the ring. Starks beats Jericho. Afterwards, the JAS attacked Starks before Action Andretti came out with a chair. He took out the JAS one after another before Anna Jay took the chair, and Ty Mello hit Action Andretti with a low blow. Action Andretti was swarmed 2.0, then brought out a table, and Jake Hager powerbombed Ricky Starks off the apron through the table, which looked fucking nasty. It looked fucking nasty. I do not want to be on the receiving end of a Jake Hager powerbomb like that. It looked fucking brutal. And I mean fucking brutal. Do not put me anywhere near Jake Hager with a table. Do not mess with Jake Hager's hat either. He likes his hat. And I'm sure that we're going to hear that next week in the forum. We're going to hear, I like this hat. But Ricky Starks, he was put over by Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, once again, showing why he is one of the best that AEW has, and he is one of the most selfless individuals that AEW has. He put over Claudio, Action Andretti, and Ricky Starks. He's lost 3 matches in a row. When have you ever heard of that? That is unheard of. Unheard of. Chris Jericho, I'm telling you, you have to be an idiot to hate on Chris Jericho. You have to be a fucking idiot to call Chris Jericho selfless. Really. Chris Jericho is doing God's work right now in AEW. And Ricky Starks, he is going to be the future of AEW, if not already. Now, what happens going forward? I can see another match. I can see Ricky Starks potentially recruiting new people to help him take out the JAS, for sure. And you know what? I'm going to like that. I'm going to like that. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Hangman Page, he was interviewed by Tony Schiavone. He gave us an update on his condition. He said that, I am not medically cleared to compete, but I plan to be cleared next week in the Forum. And Moxley, I will knock your dick in the dirt. Moxley then came out. Of course he did. Moxley then took the mic. His mic stopped working at one point. He joked about it. He actually said, what the fuck? And then he's like, all right, let's get this shit back on track, shall we? So Moxley said, I am sick of all of these get well campaigns. I had to crawl through miles of crap and you play the victim because you got knocked out. That makes me sick. Hangman said, you think that I'm mad because you knocked me out? No. I'm angry because of how you called me out and I didn't even get a chance to finish what I was going to say. You made a joke about knocking me out. Is this a joke to you? Said Hangman. He goes, I think you felt threatened by me. I've had plenty of individuals that have knocked me down, but I always get back up. But he pretty much said he doesn't tolerate disrespect. He was sick of Moxley's disrespect. He goes, I got 2 lariats with your name on them, and you're going to get them at the Forum. Moxley then said, the only joke that I find funny is the fact that you think next time will be different. Next time, I'm going to make sure that you don't get back up. This was excellent. This was excellent. Excellent from start to finish. Excellent stuff. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. This has really built up Hangman as a major babyface coming out of that match with Moxley. But I can honestly see Moxley winning this. I honestly see Moxley winning this. And I honestly see them playing up the fact that Hangman can't beat Moxley. I honestly see Moxley playing the agenda of, I gave you 2 shots and you failed. You are going to be a great individual going forward, and you're going to be a great face of the company, but at the end of the day, you can't beat Jon Moxley. Leave it at that. And I see a 3rd match happening at Revolution, and the 3rd and final match, Page finally beats Jon Moxley. That's how I see it happening. And you know what? I got no issue with that at all. I see Moxley winning this match and Hangman finally getting his win at Revolution. That's how I would do it, at least. But this was an excellent promo. Let me tell you something. Moxley's always great, but Hangman does not get enough respect. Hangman is very good on the microphone. And if you're not with the program, you got to get with the fucking program, because Hangman, when he speaks with a certain amount of conviction. He is a very good promo, really. He is. And I have full confidence that Moxley's winning next week. And Page will finally get his win at the pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus the Acclaimed AEW World Tag Team Championships. I talked about this with Lil Stevie on Thursday with the rundown for Battle of the Belts. I know a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions, and a lot of people are going to shit on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and this program with the Acclaimed, but I don't really mind it. I haven't minded it as much as others have, because I know what it is at the end of the day. It's merely an interim program to get the Acclaimed through a title defense. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It's not been taking up hours and hours of TV time. It's not the main storyline that's going on. It's not something that's been overbearing. It's just been there. It's just an interim program to get the Acclaimed through another title defense and then move on to a bigger and better team. And on top of that, after the two matches that we got this week, I can't really shit on it. And plus, the feud's already over. And this match was entertaining as all hell. This match was actually very, very fun. So I can't sit here and say that, oh yeah, this was a terrible program. This was a terrible feud. I can't sit here and overly complain about it. I can't. Now, if it extended to Revolution and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal would have won the titles, that would have been a different scenario. But they didn't. So I can't really sit here and say that this was jack shit. This was rather very entertaining. So Caster was rubbing it in the face of Jarrett. He hit Lethal with an angle slam and an ankle lock. Gotta love it. Gotta love Max Caster. So Lethal and Jarrett were in control. Billy Gunn was ejected because he tried to get involved. All of a sudden, Caster tagged in. He lit up Lethal with a back body drop, super kick to Jarrett. He took out Lethal with a nice crossbody. Jarrett saved it. We had a drop kick to Lethal, tagged the Bowens. Jarrett then took out Caster. Modified flipping back body drop. Bowens kicked out. We had a figure four by Lethal. The ref kicked out Dutt and Singh after they sent Caster into the steps. We had a rolling elbow on Lethal. Jeff Jarrett with the forward Russian leg sweep. The ref, this was great right here. The ref counted to 3. Sanjay Dutt pushed Bowen's foot off the ropes, and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal won the tag team titles. Then Aubrey, this is where things really started to get interesting. I thought that they gave Jarrett and Lethal the tag team titles. I was getting ready to shit all over this. But Aubrey came in and she goes, no. You see, I saw this fucking egghead, Sanjay Dutt over here. I saw him push Bowens' foot off the rope. This match is restarting. And the match restarted. The match was off again. Bowens ended up rolling up Lethal to retain the titles 1, 2, 3. And we got a very entertaining match. This was very fun. And the match at Battle of the Belts 2 was also fun. So I can't really sit here and shit on it. Could it have been a better program for the Acclaimed? Yes, absolutely. But in the end, this was a quick, easy program with Jarrett and Lethal inevitably losing, and the raps that Max Caster did. I mean, how can you shit on Max Caster's raps about Karen Jarrett? How can you shit on that? I can't. It did what it needed to do. The match and the program did what it needed to do, and I can't sit here and tell you that I hate it. I can't. Jungle Hook. Next week, Jungle Boy and Hook, they take on Big Bill and Lee Moriarty in the Forum, which should be interesting. Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. They were calling him Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson, he took on Tony Nese. The crowd fucking popped big for Bryan. And Nese very good in his role here. I got to say that. Nese did very good in his role here. And Nese inevitably was the recipient of a Busaiku knee and a Regal stretch. And it was quick. It was easy. The crowd was fantastic. And the yes chants just made it better. Made it awesome. So after Bryan got the win over Nese, Bryan then took the mic and he said, "It's great to be home." He said that he wanted another fight. He called out MJF. MJF came out. Crowd was booing the shit out of him. MJF then mocked Bryan for wanting to wrestle him. How about no? So he goes, "I don't care about these schmucks. You're a mark. I got a big fat check in the mail whether I wrestle or I don't. Just because you look like a goat doesn't make you the greatest of all time, but you look like a goat probably because back then Mama Danielson couldn't find herself a human suitor." Bryan then goes, "Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because all the boys in the back talk about your mother and how many human suitors that she's had. Great. It's great. So MJF got pissed and he goes, who died and made you king of wrestling? These marks or journalists who've never been in a ring? I'm touted by people who've actually been in the business, like Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and the smartest man of all, Jim Cornette. I was laughing my ass off. I could not fucking control myself. I was hunched over laughing my ass off. My stomach was hurting. This was great. This was awesome. So Brian then said, it's time for us to fight. MJF then said, slow your roll. I came out here as a favor for you because this ain't play wrestling. This is pro wrestling. You want a shot, you got to become #1 contender. TK told me that if you wrestle every week on Dynamite until February 8th, then you're #1 contender, and I will give you a match at Revolution. Brian then said, no, I'm going to wrestle whenever I want. MJF then said, Tony Khan doesn't run this company. I do. And you will do what I say or you will never wrestle me until my contract runs out. Brian then said, all right, I'll agree to your terms only if you agree to make me choose the stipulation. Brian then said, I'm challenging you to a 1-hour Iron Man match. Brian then pulled out Maxi Pad. MJF then agreed. He called Brian a choke artist, and Brian then said that he will run through everyone, expose MJF, that you don't have the footwork, you're not good enough to be out here every single week, and I will kick your damn head in. Fucking excellent. That is how you start a world title program for a build in 2023. That is how you start a world title match build. That's how you do it. And next week, he's fighting fucking Konosuke Takeshita. Holy shit! Can you imagine what we're going to get next week? It is going to be fucking electric. This build is going to be great. And MJF and Brian, I'm telling you, this 1-hour Iron Man match, this is going to make MJF's world title reign immediately. This is going to make it. This is going to make it. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. I love me some Swerve Strickland. I'm a Swerve guy. So Swerve, he took on AR Fox, and I really got to say, AR Fox has really impressed the shit out of me. I got to admit, he's really impressed the shit out of me. I didn't think AR Fox was this good, but holy shit, is he fucking good. So Fox and Swerve, they traded strikes back and forth. Fox with a beautiful running moonsault off the apron to Swerve. Swerve then with a rolling brainbuster for a 2. Swerve then with a running PK on Fox. Coming back from commercial, Fox and Swerve, they traded strikes and enziguris. This was great right here. Swerve with a German suplex rolled through into a flatliner for a 2. Fox and this flurry of offense, I don't know how the fuck he did this, but it's like I was watching Ricochet. Fox, AR Fox, he did a flurry of offense where he came in with a innovative Hurricane Rana, an innovative cutter. Like, he took Swerve's arms and pulled him from the mat into a cutter, and then he went up to the top rope and delivered probably one of the best looking 450s that I've ever fucking seen, and he got a 2 count off of that. Back up on the top rope, Swerve with an avalanche Death Valley driver off of the middle rope onto the apron. I thought Fox was broken in half. Swerve with the Swerve Stomp, and Swerve gets the win 1, 2, 3 in a very good match. And holy shit, is Swerve Strickland good or is Swerve Strickland good? I would not mind. After this feud with Keith Lee, I would not mind in the slightest if we see Swerve go after Cassidy for the All-Atlantic title, or if he goes after Darby. One of those, if Swerve needs to be one of the individuals that either wins the TNT title or the All-Atlantic Championship. And you know what? I'm going to go with the TNT Championship because I actually have another person in mind to take the All-Atlantic title from Orange Cassidy. I have another person in mind. And I will get to that when we get to Battle of the Belts. So, from there, we go into a little sit-down with Saraya in the back, and she actually chose Toni Storm as her partner right in front of Hikaru Shida. Right in front of Hikaru Shida. Now, I don't know what you guys were thinking. But to me, it gave me the vibe that Shida was going to turn heel. I don't know how they're going to do this, but I have a feeling that Shida is going to attack Toni Storm before the match, but no one is going to realize. No one is going to realize until later on. I do believe that we will inevitably see Shida reveal herself as the attacker for Toni Storm. It's going to be like a mystery, even though we know who did it. And in the end, we will see Shida turn heel, and we're going to see a program between Shida and Toni Storm. Toni Storm's not even going to make it to next week. She's not even going to make it out there. And then inevitably, we will see Mercedes Moné inevitably take Toni Storm's spot. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited. I am very, very excited. I do believe that this is probably just going to be a one-off. I have this feeling that it's going to be a one-off, and we will inevitably see Mercedes Moné back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, probably until around Forbidden Door time. I have a feeling that they'll probably work something out around that time, but I can't see Mercedes in a full-time deal for the time being. At least not now. So from there, we go into the Guns. The Guns came out very somber, very, very somber, and they had a graphic up on the screen that said FTRIP, which I found fucking hilarious. Austin then said that they're here to pay respects to FTR. Colton was going down all of their accomplishments, but they didn't win the AEW World Tag Team titles. They're 5-star FTR, but they are 10 stars in our hearts. Austin, this was great, by Austin Gunn was then fake crying, and he said that they started a podcast that nobody listens to. The Guns destroyed a 10-year legacy in 10 minutes. All of a sudden, during their moment of silence, the music hit. And then the Guns were, oh my God, what's going on? The Guns then laughed. They laughed because they programmed the music. And the Guns then ended up saying that FTR would never work for AEW again. Top Guns out. I like it. I like what they're doing with the Guns. And you know what? I can honestly see the Guns being the team to take the titles off of the Acclaimed, whenever that may be. I honestly see the Guns as the team to take the titles off the Acclaimed. It would come full circle. For the Guns, and Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, could end up turning heel and reuniting with his sons. And that's going to be a brilliant thing. That's going to be brilliant. I'm liking it. I really am. So, from there, the Guns left the ring, and we got a women's tag team match. With Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan taking on Red Velvet and Jade Cargill. This wasn't bad. At all. And this just furthered the storyline with Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. It looks like Red Velvet will inevitably be Jade Cargill's next challenger. So, Sky Blue and Kiera Hogan, the babyfaces, were in control early on. We had Red Velvet taking the brunt of the punishment. We had a DDT by Sky Blue, tag to Jade. Jade, coming back from commercial, Hogan was caught with the Eye of the Storm by Jade. Red Velvet wasn't impressed. Velvet then got tagged by a pat on the head, so the tensions were rising. The tensions were rising. We had Hogan hitting a sliding drop kick. Jade tagged herself back in. We had a punt kick on Sky Blue. A very nice choke slam on Kiera Hogan. Red Velvet then stepped down off the apron and walked away. She walked away. Jade was rolled up by Sky Blue. She kicked out. And then Jade hit a nasty, nasty punt kick in order to get the 1-2-3 win. And Jade inevitably won the match. And in the end, we had Jade continuing her undefeated streak. And then Jade went into Battle of the Belts to defend the title against Sky Blue, which was actually a pretty decent match. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So in the main event, we had Darby Allin and Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. Darby and Joe, they fucking brought it. They fucking brought it for sure. And Seattle was fucking hyped up for Darby Allin. I mean, obviously, he's from Seattle. So Darby, with a suicide dive right out of the gate, he took out Joe because Joe was attacking his friend, Nick Wayne, who, by the way, is probably going to be a part of AEW after he graduates high school. Darby brought out a ladder. He climbed it and he dove off the top with a swanton bomb onto Joe, and he sold the knee. I actually thought that Darby was hurt. I mean, like, holy shit. Rollins already suffered a knee injury. God forbid Darby suffered a knee injury too. So coming back from commercial, Darby mounted a comeback, but Joe shut him down. Joe with a cross-legged knee breaker. Joe then gripped the turnbuckle, and the turnbuckle came flying loose. Joe had the coquina clutch locked in. Darby reversed it. Coquina clutch again. Darby then fought out of it. Joe bounced off of the exposed buckle. Darby Allin with a beautiful code red. A beautiful code red. One coffin drop. He went up to the top again. A second coffin drop. And Darby Allin wins the TNT title for the second time in his career. This was a very good main event. But was this the wrong outcome? I don't know about you, but I really wouldn't have taken the title off of Darby this early. I really wouldn't have taken the title off of Darby this early. Or off of Joe this early. You could have gotten a lot more mileage out of Darby and Samoa Joe. I would have waited till the pay-per-view. I honestly would have waited till the pay-per-view to take the title off of Joe. It seems to me like they rushed it. It seems like they rushed Samoa Joe's title reign. He didn't really even have a chance to get his feet wet. He didn't even have a chance to really get his feet wet as the king of television. It's like as soon as he won it, he lost it. I don't know, but I can't really get myself behind that. I don't like that. It seemed as though this was a hot shot title win only because Darby Allin was from Seattle. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm happy for Darby, but I wouldn't have taken it off of Joe yet. I would have waited till Revolution. I would have easily waited till Revolution. Regardless, still a very good match, and I'm happy for Darby. I think Darby's going to do the title good, and Darby is going to continue doing what he does best, and that's put on banger matches. I would much rather see Darby in the All-Atlantic title picture or the World title picture, and one day I hope to see Darby in the World title picture at some point. I really do. That was AEW Dynamite, which was a fantastic show from top to bottom. Cannot wait to see what else AEW has in store for us. And the Forum, holy shit, is the Forum looking like a big show, or is it looking like a big show? It's looking like a major show. Now, what happens with Joe going forward? I don't know. Now, Joe still has the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I'm not really sure who takes the title off of him. maybe Wardlow ends up coming back, and maybe at the Supercard of Honor show, in April, maybe we end up getting Samoa Joe and Wardlow at the Supercard of Honor show for the World Television Championship, and maybe Wardlow wins the title. I don't know. I mean, if I was booking it, that's what I would do. That's just me, though. SmackDown, similar to Raw. Again, I don't know what it was, but this SmackDown, it felt very Vince McMahon-esque. This felt like a Vince McMahon-produced show. And if you don't think that Vince McMahon is starting to slowly regain power, it's already being felt. Just look at what happened on SmackDown. Look what happened on the show. I'm telling you, it is being felt already. Vince is slowly regaining power, and I'm not a fan of it at all. So the Bloodline kicked off the show, raising hell once again. Roman Reigns came out, and he goes, "Memphis, Tennessee, acknowledge me." So he goes, "I'd like to hear from the honorary Sami Zayn. We're going to start things off a little differently." So Sami hyped up the Bloodline, and he talked about that this will be their year. Roman said, "I want to talk about last year. We had the biggest SmackDown match of the year against Cena and Owens. Some say we lost, but that's not my DNA. I didn't lose. He lost." Roman then went to Sami and said, "Why did you call your shot? You didn't win. Do you want to be me? Are you trying to be me? Do you want to be the tribal chief or do things better than me?" He's like, "Listen, I want you guys to understand, these are the things that I need to ask myself with the position that I'm in. Do you want to be me?" He then started yelling at Sami Zayn, "Do you want to be me? Do you want to run the Bloodline?" He was getting mad. Owens then came out and he goes, "Before things go too far, I think you need to calm down. I think you got some misdirected anger. Last time I saw you like this, it's because I caused it. Your problem isn't with Sami. It's with me. And I think you got to take care of that KO problem, and the best way to do it is in a match for the undisputed Universal Championship." Roman said, "I just want you to disappear." Kevin then goes, "All right, I will give you what you want. I'll disappear. I'll see you at the Rumble. And Sami, I'll see you when you fetch your balls from Roman Reigns' pocket." I like it. Excellent. Excellent open. And after that, it just went downhill until the main event. That was pretty much SmackDown in a nutshell. From there, we go into Kofi Kingston versus Santos Escobar. It's a pretty decent match right here. Nothing too crazy. And Santos Escobar gets the win over Kofi Kingston here with the Phantom Driver. Escobar and Kingston did pretty decently together. They did what they went in there to do, and Santos Escobar got the win as he should. Escobar is back on winning ways. So that was pretty much it. Escobar gets the win over Kofi. Scarlett and Karrion Kross, they took on Madcap Moss and Emma. Emma was clearly out-wrestling Scarlett. Kross pulled Emma off of the cover. She actually slapped Kross. Moss then came in, and he was tripped up by Scarlett. Emma then got sent into the post and then sent over the table. Kross with the cross hammer and the cross jacket, and Moss passes out. Scarlett then put a Rey Mysterio mask on Moss's face, and obviously that was all in a lead-up to what is to come later on when we inevitably get the Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross match, which should be a great match. Charlotte Flair came out. What's the code, people? We got a code here on the channel. That code is a tick, 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 tock. Fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair came out to address the WWE Universe, and she goes, "Did you miss your queen?" I didn't. I didn't miss you at all. I was actually hoping that you were never going to come back. She goes, what's that phrase? Payback's a bitch? Just ask Rhonda. She knows. I got another phrase. Charlotte Flair's a bitch. The crowd was actually chanting, "Thank you, Charlotte." Needless to say, I hate WWE fans. They suck. I really do. She goes, "I've always been about three things: passion, consistency, and dedication." Yeah. It makes sense. Makes sense because you are passionate about yourself and yourself only. You consistently hog the spotlight, and you are dedicated to being a self-absorbed, manipulative cunt. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that, Charlotte. I didn't know that at all. She goes, "I am not complacent." No, you're not complacent. You go out there and you are dedicated and you always want more. Yeah, you're not complacent. You're not content. You always want to bury more talent. I know. Trust me. So Sonya Deville then came out. She called everyone hillbillies and said, "Oh, you beat a half-dead Ronda Rousey? How would you fare against a fresh fighter?" Sonya then challenged her to a match, and Charlotte accepted. Man, I can't wait to watch this. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Charlotte Flair buries another talent that she didn't get the chance to bury before she went away. That's what happened. That's what happened. I'm telling you, I am counting down the days until Charlotte Flair retires. When Charlotte Flair retires, it is going to be one of the greatest dates ever for women's professional wrestling. It will. We had a Royal Rumble qualifying match, Ricochet versus Top Dollar. Top Dollar was obviously overpowering Ricochet early. Ricochet ended up winning with a beautiful shooting star press. As expected, Ricochet wins, nothing special. Hit Row then turned heel. They turned heel. They attacked Ricochet, and this is actually a good call for Hit Row. I feel as though they're going to favor much better as heels. They do not scream baby faces to me. They are heels to me. So Hit Row as heels should favor much better. Braun Strowman then came out to help Ricochet, and that was pretty much it. I can see Braun Strowman and Ricochet fighting Hit Row at some point. We'll see what happens. Roman and Sammy had a sit-down interview. This was great. So Roman gave Sammy his moment to speak. Zayn then says he's not trying to be the tribal chief, and he apologized for giving Roman the impression. Roman then said he didn't accept his apology. He says he holds himself to a very high standard, and I need to learn to control my anger. Nobody deserves to be scolded on TV, and I should be apologizing to you. I'm sorry, Sammy. Sammy then said, "No, it's okay. I know you're under a lot of pressure." Roman goes, "That's no excuse. KO was right. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at you, but I'm taking it out on you. And our KO problem is done. Ain't that right, wise man?" Heyman then said that next week it will be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Interesting. Very, very interesting. The layers and layers on top of this storyline, they're getting deeper and deeper. It's going to be a great thing to see. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre versus the Usos. This was for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I thought that this was a great match. From start to finish. We had early stages being very even before Drew took over. Jay then delivered a suicide dive on Drew. Coming back from commercial, Sheamus then rallied. 20 beats of the Baldwin on Jay. We had a super kick by Jay. Splash by Jimmy. Sheamus kicked out. Drew then took Jimmy. And we had a double white noise by Sheamus and Drew. Jay kicked out. Tag to Drew. We had a neck breaker and a big tope con hero by Drew onto the Usos. Claymore connects, but Jimmy saved it. The Usos then with double super kicks They hit the 1D. The 1D on Sheamus connects perfectly. 1D on Sheamus connects perfectly. But McIntyre saved it. McIntyre saved it. Then we had Solo getting involved behind the referee's back, sending Drew McIntyre into the barricade. And then in the ring, Jimmy Uso then rolled up Sheamus with Jay offering an assistance, and the Usos retain in a very, very good match. Very good match against Sheamus and Drew. Again, outside of the opening match, or the opening segment rather, and the main event, this was a very, very lackluster SmackDown. It felt like a Vince McMahon produced show. 3-minute matches, same old faces at the top, Charlotte Flair burying talent. It just felt off. Nothing happened. No true excitement. No true storyline progression as far as excitement goes. No storyline progression outside of what's going on with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. And it was very disappointing. Very disappointing. This was not a good week for WWE television. However, AEW side of things, this was a great week for AEW side of things, specifically AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage, they had one of their best shows ever. This was one of the best Rampages that we've seen in a long, long time. They started off Rampage's calendar year on the right foot. Top Flight. They took on Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, and this was a great fucking match. This went 15 minutes, and my God, Top Flight, I'm telling you, Top Flight is going to be a major tag team to watch out for in 2023, and this was a great match. Great match here. So Top Flight took the fight to the BCC early. Bryan then came in with some stiff kicks. Hurricane Rana to Dante off the top. Dante then landed on his feet, tagged to Darius. A beautiful drop kick by Darius. BCC then took the fight to the floor. Back into the ring. A nice superplex by Moxley to Dante for a 2. Coming back from commercial, we had Darius getting the tag. He lit up Bryan with some chops. Moxley as well. Darius and Bryan then got into a chop off. Darius then with a standing Spanish fly. Slingshot flatliner on Moxley. Tornado DDT on Bryan. Half and half driver by Dante on Moxley. That got a 2 count. Dante delivered a frog splash. Moxley kicked out, rolled through into hammer and anvil elbows. Dante was caught with the King Kong lariat. Dante kicked out. Moxley with a suicide dive on Dante. Bryan with a Busaiku knee on Darius. Dante saved it. We had a rolling elbow and a roundhouse kick. This was great. Excellent stuff. We had a double axe handle by Moxley to Dante. Bryan with head stomps and a regal stretch. And Darius was out. Great match. Great match to kick off the show. And I thought that these two individuals, they fucking knocked it out of the park. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. Excellent stuff. Top Flight is going to be a big fucking name. I'm telling you, if they're on Ring of Honor, if they're on AEW, watch out for Top Flight. Whoever takes the titles off of the Acclaimed, I can see Top Flight being top-tier contenders for whoever the tag team champions are. This was great. This was awesome. I'll tell you what else was awesome. The Renegade Twins. Charlotte and Robin Renegade. These two ladies, I'm telling you, I was not too familiar with them, but the Renegade Twins are two very good professional wrestlers. They got something. For sure. So Baker Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, they took on the Renegade Twins. They attacked the Renegades right out of the gate. Jamie Hayter was over. Jamie Hayter was over in this match. So the Renegades took it to Hayter. Hayter with a double suplex on the Renegades. Tagged to Baker. Baker then brought it to Robin Renegade. We had a sling blade connecting on the dot. Coming back from commercial, Hayter was in control. Robin fought back. Tagged to Charlotte. She brought it to Baker. Flapjack on Hayter. Spinebuster on Baker. Fisherman suplex for a 2. Hayter then came in with the hate breaker, which is that backbreaker that she does. Robin was out. Charlotte then fought them both off. Hayter with a Death Valley driver onto the knee, a low lariat, and then a stomp by Britt Baker. And Britt Baker gets the win for her team. 1, 2, 3, thanks to the combination offense between her and Hayter. And this was a very good women's tag team match. The Renegades looked great. And it was a nice little teaser of what is to come next week in the Forum. It's going to be very good. It's going to be great. This is what we want. AEW's women's division has really shaped up a lot. A lot of storylines in the AEW women's division right now, and women's wrestling in AEW has really, really skyrocketed. Even Jade Cargill and Sky Blue, and we're going to talk about that at the next show, because we're going to go over Battle of the Belts after we're done with Rampage. The House of Black, they cut a promo. Malachi, he talked about his history with Eddie Kingston, and he called him a sadistic bastard, but that's not the Eddie Kingston that we see now. Brody then said he will have his eyes turn black. Julia said, "We're here to help you." So next week on Rampage, we got the Kings of the Black Throne versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. That is a match that is going to get some people to go out and watch Rampage. That's a match that you put on Rampage to get people interested. I like that. Also, shout out to Raging Girl Gamer, who just joined in the chat. You're a little late. We're just about getting ready to go over Battle of the Belts, and then we're getting out of here. But I'm happy that you decided to show up. So from there, after the House of Black promo, we go into Preston Vance versus Sonico. Vance just ran over him, discus lariat, and that was it. And then he ripped the mask off of Sonico, and the crowd booed the shit out of him. Booed the shit out of him. Main event. Darby Allin and Mike Bennett for the TNT Championship. If you guys don't know who Mike Bennett is a very good professional wrestler, and this was no different. This was a very good match in the main event of Rampage between Darby and Mike Bennett. Darby and Bennett, they got into it a little technically. Bennett super kicked Darby's knee, and he regained control. We had a rebound forearm by Bennett on the outside. Darby came back with a suicide dive onto Matt Taven. By the way, I like Matt Taven. I think Matt Taven's great. Coming back from commercial, we had a Death Valley driver by Bennett for 2. Bennett then kept Darby grounded. Darby then set up a chair. He put Bennett in it, and he delivered a missile drop kick from the top onto Mike Bennett while Bennett was still sitting in the chair. Maria then covered Mike Bennett before Bryce Remsburg threw her out. Taven kicked Darby Allin behind the referee's back, and then Mike Bennett delivered a pile driver to Darby. Darby was able to kick out. Darby and Bennett were then up on the top. Darby with an avalanche code red, followed up by a coffin drop to retain 1, 2, 3, and that was it. I thought this was great. Very good match. And Mike Bennett, this was probably the best Mike Bennett match that I've seen in quite some time. So props to Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett brought it. And Darby Allin's great. Darby Allin is awesome. And Raging Girl Gamer, we are all collectively praying for you. We are all collectively sending out our hearts to you. Depression sucks. Depression is one ugly bitch. So I hope that you make it out okay. If you need anyone to talk to, you already know that you got an entire family worth of people in this chat. You're always welcome here. Battle of the Belts 5. Battle of the Belts 5, which took place right after AEW Rampage. Listen, I hate that format. I hate the format of Battle of the Belts taking place right after Rampage. I would much rather have it on a Saturday, but I have to admit that Portland fucking brought it. Even at 11 p.m. Eastern time, Portland fucking brought it, and we got two very good shows for AEW back-to-back. Battle of the Belts was a very entertaining show. And you know what? If you were to tell me that this was the best Battle of the Belts, I would not argue you there. The only reason why it's not the best Battle of the Belts for me is because of Claudio and Takeshita at the third Battle of the Belts for the Ring of Honor World Championship. I mean, that was a fucking banger of a match. Holy shit, was that good. But this was a very good show. This was very, very entertaining. And everyone that went into Rampage and everyone that went into Battle of the Belts, they should all be walking out proud. All of them did great. All of them did great. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and the Acclaimed, they had their no-holds-barred match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I don't understand. I really don't understand why we didn't get more weapons added into this. And Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt, they were being sneaky heels on the outside. It was stupid. It was fucking stupid. And this match was overbooked as shit. This match was overbooked as shit. If you look up overbooked in the dictionary, you will find a picture of this match. But, this match was entertaining as all hell. It was overbooked. And I could have done without that, but it was very entertaining. I have to admit. Even with all of the overbooked shenanigans, we still ended up getting a very entertaining match in the end of it. So the brawl started out right out of the gate. Bowens with a blockbuster on Jarrett. That got it too. Caster slapped Satnam Singh in the face. No fear by Caster. I'm not really sure why. I really don't know why Satnam Singh didn't just go in there and beat the shit out of him. It was no holds barred. But Lethal and Jarrett took over. Lethal with a suicide dive onto Bowens. Lethal and Jarrett then did a double strut. Coming back from commercial, Bowens with a lariat tagged to Caster. He lit up Jarrett and Lethal with a super kick to Jarrett, an angle slam, and an ankle lock. Kurt Angle tribute. You got to love Max Caster. Lethal then hit a diving elbow drop to the ref. I mean, it was no holds barred, but I don't understand why you would attack the ref. Billy Gunn then got in and took out Lethal. The crowd was going nuts. Satnam Singh then sent Caster into the steps. We had a famouser by Anthony Bowens on Jeff Jarrett. A new referee then ran out. Jarrett then kicked out. So that was a nice near fall right there. That was a very nice near fall. Billy then took out Lethal. Jarrett then had the guitar. He low-blowed Billy. Low-blow to Billy. Bowens then had the boombox. Billy then took the guitar, and Billy Gunn blasted Satnam Singh in the face with the guitar. Satnam Singh took this shit like a champ. Jarrett then took out Billy. Singh then with a double choke slam to the Acclaimed. And then, this was great. This was actually ingenious right here. After all these overbooked shenanigans, we got this one genius move right here. Satnam Singh choke slams Mike Posey, takes the referee's shirt off, and gives it to Sanjay Dutt. So, realistically, that right there was an ingenious move there by Satnam Singh. He gave the referee's shirt to Sanjay Dutt. Dutt put it on. Lethal with a lethal injection, and Sanjay Dutt, was going to count the 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden, Aubrey Edwards then came in and stopped Sanjay Dutt again from counting the pin. She then snapped his pencil, shoved him down, and the Acclaimed hit the Arrival and the mic drop, and the Acclaimed retain the tag team titles in an overbooked match as you could get, but it was entertaining as shit. So, I gotta say, after everything, after the last few weeks, I got to say that this Jarrett and Lethal feud, it wasn't a complete waste of time. It wasn't a complete waste of time. And in the end, I guess that can be looked at as a big thumbs up. A big thumbs up. So I got to give my props to everyone involved here. They all played their roles well, and they all did what they were supposed to do. The feud did what it needed to do. And the Acclaimed are now going to move on to someone else. Whether it's the Guns, the Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, whoever it may be. And the Acclaimed are not losing the tag team titles. Jade Cargill and Sky Blue. This was for the TBS Championship. And I understand everyone's gripes. I understand everyone's gripes with Jade Cargill and her TBS Championship reign and how it's been very lackluster. I know, and trust me, we need to get that title off of Jade Cargill at some point. But I gotta say, this match here with Sky Blue, it was a lot better than anyone could have expected. And Sky Blue, I want to focus on Sky Blue for a little bit. Sky Blue, 16 months ago, she was terrible. She didn't even know what the fuck she was doing. Now I'm watching her, and I think that in due time, Sky Blue could be a very good hand in the division. She could be a solid TBS champion one of these days. I thought Sky Blue did very, very well in this match. And the entire match was, it was booked as good as you could possibly get. Jade Cargill and Sky Blue, it was a typical David versus Goliath women's match. So Sky Blue was trying to go right after Jade with some roll-ups. Jade bullied Sky Blue onto the ramp and delivered a choke slam on the ramp. And that was a nasty landing. Very nasty landing. Red Velvet came out to watch. Sky Blue made it back into the ring. Sky Blue beat the count. Sky Blue tried to mount the comeback with a nice head scissor takedown and a kneeling enziguri to Jade. Jade, I don't know what it is, but Jade's been really getting better with these punt kicks. Jade has really been taking it to these women with the punt. Jade right now may have the most devastating punt kick in all of the industry. Her punt kick was fucking nasty. So Jade, with a punt kick on Sky Blue, and I swear to God, I legitimately thought that Sky Blue was knocked the fuck out. Either Sky Blue is one of the best sellers I've ever seen, or Jade Cargill's punt kick is a fucking lethal weapon. So Jade with this nasty punt kick right on the money. Sky Blue got back up again. Layla Gray then got slapped by Red Velvet. Red Velvet caused a distraction, which opened up the door for Sky Blue to hit a beautiful super kick, and then one of the most beautiful looking Code Reds. I think Darby's Code Red may have some competition. Darby's Code Red may have some competition right now. This was a gorgeous Code Red by Sky Blue, or what she calls the Code Blue. Code Blue by Sky Blue popped the crowd. Jade kicked out. Sky Blue then went up to the top, and she was caught in a powerbomb position by Jade. Jade, this was a great transition. Jade pulled her up from a powerbomb position, flipped her around into an electric chair position, and then dropped her forward, hooked her into the Jaded. Beautiful transition right there by Jade. And Jade gets the 1-2-3 win over Sky Blue. These two women did a very, very, very good job together. So I have to give them props. They did very good. And I can't really shit on them. I can't really shit on them at all. Jade Cargill and Sky Blue. Very good stuff. And Jade Cargill retains the TBS Championship. And now she's going to move on to Red Velvet. When that is, I don't know. But that's what it looks like we're headed down the road to. Main event of Battle of the Belts, part number 5. It was Orange Cassidy versus Kip Sabian for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. Now, I know a lot of people kind of were a little iffy on this. And listen, I understand people's gripes with Kip Sabian and how he's not the most exciting individual, but The guy is a very good professional wrestler. And I would say that this was probably Kip Sabian's best match in AEW. The crowd was great. Him and Cassidy worked very well together. It went 17, 18 minutes. They were given plenty of time, and they ended up putting out a very solid match. But at the end of the day, this is Kip Sabian's ceiling. Kip Sabian is not going to go past this. Kip Sabian, I don't really know how to put this, but I guess he's like the Dolph Ziggler of AEW. Now, Dolph Ziggler is obviously better than Kip Sabian, but Kip Sabian, he's just a guy that is going to give you a great wrestling match, and he's going to ultimately end up losing in the end. He's virtually a glorified enhancement talent, but that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we do need people that are going to be nothing more than people that are going to give others good matches, but ultimately lose. And Cassidy was not losing the championship. Cassidy hasn't even had a full-blown reign as All-Atlantic champion yet. Cassidy is holding that championship at least until Revolution. He's holding that title at least until Revolution, whether you want to admit it or not. Cassidy is not losing that title anytime soon, up until Revolution. But this match was a very good match. And Kip Sabian, unfortunately, this is his ceiling. There's just so many people who are ahead of Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian is not a guy that's going to be winning championships. Maybe in Ring of Honor. You could put him in Ring of Honor. You could see what he could do in Ring of Honor. But I don't see him being a game changer on AEW TV. He's just not there. He's just not there. Cassidy brought out the aggression to Kip. Sabian, he put on Cassidy's sunglasses. So Sabian was trying to mock Orange Cassidy. He played some mind games with Orange Cassidy. Kip with an Arabian-style moonsault. Kip then bit Danhausen's fingers when Danhausen tried to curse him. Cassidy then came in with a flurry of offense with a tope suicida, a diving crossbody, and a stun dog millionaire. Kip caught Orange Cassidy on the floor and delivered a swinging neckbreaker off the apron to the floor. Coming back from commercial, Kip with a modified cannonball senton, but Cassidy moved. Both men were on the apron. Sabian was caught with a superplex by Cassidy. The ref then ejected the bunny. Sabian and Cassidy collided heads before the Butcher and the Blade came out. Danhausen tried to fight them off, but to no avail. They got chairs, and they watched as Kip and Cassidy traded strikes. Kip then mocked Orange Cassidy. Cassidy unloaded with fucking strikes. Kip with a headbutt right to the face, a rising knee, and a V-trigger on the money. Cassidy kicked out. We had a PK and a cross-legged driver by Kip. Cassidy kicked out again. The Best Friends then came out, and they took out the Butcher and the Blade. Kip with the corkscrew neck breaker. But Cassidy kicked out again. Kip went for the orange punch. He got it, but Cassidy didn't go down. He was hulking himself up. We had a satellite DDT, a PK, and a beach break. By Cassidy. Sabian kicked out. Cassidy then became unglued. He accidentally shoved down the ref. This is where I thought Kip actually won the championship. He rolled up Cassidy, but Cassidy kicked out. Cassidy delivered one orange punch and then delivered the second orange punch, and Orange Cassidy gets the win in what was a very good match, a very good main event, and easily Kip Sabian's best match in AEW to date. No chance that Kip was winning. Cassidy is the priority right now. And Cassidy is holding that title at least until Revolution. Who takes it off of him? I have a couple of individuals in mind, but it's really an open field. You could do Wardlow. Wardlow could take it off of him. You could potentially do Swerve. You could potentially do Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is always there. But if you're asking me who I think it's going to be, I honestly think it's going to be Hobbs. I honestly think that it's going to be Hobbs because Hobbs has been preaching the book of Hobbs and how he's out to take everything from everyone. If you're asking me, the best route for Hobbs to go is to beat Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship. And if you want to make a new star, you give that All-Atlantic Championship to Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs is the guy to watch out for, and I would love to see Hobbs win the All-Atlantic Championship from Cassidy. That's the match I see happening at Revolution. That's what I see happening. And you know what? I'm going to like it. I'm going to like it a lot. I think Cassidy's going to bring the best out of Powerhouse Hobbs. AEW delivered with Rampage and Battle of the Belts as well as Dynamite. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. A great show as it usually is. Thank you all for joining. You guys are fantastic as you guys usually are. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please share out the stream. Tell everyone about DJ Storms. This is going to be a big year. We have plenty of good material coming to you guys over the course of the next couple of months, going into WrestleMania season and going into the spring. It is going to be big. Until then, I am DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, let me ask you this one question like I always do, people. Who runs the IWC? I want to know. Whoa, 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 I want to know. Tell me who. I'll tell ya who. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever fucking forget it. 2023 is my year.